Hey folks, this is Brian. We got to play RQG tonight. Um, Interesting interlude of things. So I'm not sure exactly what chapter this stuff will fit into, but after we finished C season, I went through and your Glorantha may vary. My 1628 is 1627 of published typed materials. So at the end of C season, Argrath has left Prax and invaded northern Dragon Pass and attacked the Lunars in Aldature. So I pull a bunch of information down, and there's rumors running wild in Clearwine where the party is. So I just throwing stuff out, and it's all in the live play. The first little piece of it is all just me just regurgitating information out to me. Hey, this is what's going on. People are hearing this. People are hearing that. Conflicting information on who's doing what to where and who's this person and how are they getting here and what's happening in between A and B and that kind of stuff. But there's also stuff within my campaign. If stuff's going on at Two Sisters, a patrol is missing. They found these holes in the ground along the road between Horsetown and Two Sisters. And then, okay, it's fire season, guys. What are you going to do? And they were discussing that certain things they didn't want to do because they didn't feel like if Queen Leeka wasn't asking them to go do it, they didn't really have a standing to go and do that. I didn't want to bring this up, but they could always ask, hey, we're hearing this. Do you want us to go check that out for you? Take some initiative. But anyway, they decided to go and check out these holes. But they had seen previously large amounts of smoke pillowing up out of the cinder pits. And so they're thinking, well, let's go ahead and jump over the cinder pits, check that out on our way up to Runegate. And so up to Blackspear, spend the night, next day check on over. And as they get there, there's this haze in the cinder pits. And as they get close to this haze, they actually find a path. And along this path, off to the right, is a small encampment. 3 tents, a little fire, a handful of folks milling about, that kind of thing. So Jarstakos and Miriam on the chariot go on over there. There's a couple plus 2 other folks. They're all shamans. So they probably, maybe they should not all have been shamans. But Miriam actually used her second sight, and so yeah, okay, these guys are fetches. Because at least one, probably 2 of them would have been, if not 3 or maybe even all 4. So I just went with all 4, make it easy. 2 of them are Kalimar. The other 2 they didn't recognize. But they're all together. They're very friendly. They come down, have some lunch, and they bring food out, and they got some actual clear wine they share with them. And so the party says, "Can the rest of our friends come?" Oh, sure. You got more friends? Yeah. Okay. They seem a little suspicious about that, but then the rest of the party comes in, and everybody's being nice to them. So it all gets friendly again, drinking, talking, eating, having a good time. And the party asks, "Okay, what are you doing here?" And go, there is an unusual number of fire spirits in this area. Now, cinder pits, you probably think probably is an unusual number of fire spirits here. But it's almost like a vortex, vortice kind of thing going on, although that didn't come out. And there's some discussion about fire elementals, and they have not actually gone into the spirit plane here to look at what's going on up close. They did it from a distance. But they believe that there's a rather large fire elemental that may be giving off this haze stuff that's happening here. And there's a group of folks that are out feeding it, protecting it, doing something. and this group thinks that they're going to be invited to assist with that. And that's why they're here. They're investigating this kind of stuff, see what's going on, and perhaps join this group. After it's all said and done, the party decides, okay, let's go back. They go back. There's an encounter with a bear. They bypass it. But just before they get to Black Spear, though, there's a small herd of deer. And so, Juchi, which reminds me, he was not actually able to make it to our game. In fact, Bob wasn't supposed to be able to make it either because he was running games at a convention, but his games got cut short, and so he was actually able to come on. So he joined. So I rolled for him. Okay, make an aim shot. You get your bonus afterwards. Make these modifications, and did he hit? Yeah, he got it in the neck, and he did 7 points of damage. That's enough to take it out. So they go back marching into Black Spear with the deer. Venison for dinner, folks. Everybody's very happy. Lots of party going on with that. Next day they head up to Apple Lane, spend the night, talk with Quack John. Hey, anything happening? The dice gods say, yes, there is. So I pull out my Apple Lane module and go, okay, what can we have happen? And the very first thing is this clan, tribal initiation. It's probably a clan initiation. And normally that's done in the spring, but heavy rains, they had to put it off. It's dried out, so they're doing it now. I did roll to see if it may have been later in the week, but it was actually early in the week, so it's now. So I read through the whole little introduction piece on what's going on with the different fights. It's a boys' initiation, and the circle and the fighting, and they figure. Well, Miriam sees. She doesn't help with the healing. She sees that as these fights are going on, these guys are paired out fairly well, skill-wise. So whoever organized this thing, knew these kids and knew what they were doing. And also that as the fights progress, the skill level progresses. So this last fight is a pretty decent fight with some kids who've got some real skill. And then afterwards, of course, there's drinking and party and stuff like that. And a handful of the boys are invited to be indoctrinated into other adult activities at the Temple of Valeria. Little sidebar deal. But that's what happens in Apple Lane. So next day they head over to Runegate. They get there. They spend the night at the they get there about night because it's kind of far distance. At the Inn of Last Chance Inn. But they go and they report into the thing. Hey, we're here again. The thing invites them in. They have dinner. His daughter's there. David makes a couple of overtures towards her. She's actually receptive to one of those. So he's getting these little bonus marks now to her reaction rolls. Next day. Oh, fact. Veranos? The weapons thing, not the thing. Not Veranos. Shoot. Sorry, I forgot his name. He actually rolled really, really well tonight, reacting to the party, and so he is having a blast that night. He's getting all chummy with everybody. He saw the holes. He knows exactly where they are. In fact, he'll take him out with him the next day. And they kind of invite the daughter to come along, and she's not sure about that, but maybe. This adventure thing could be kind of cool. Their adventure stories certainly sound interesting. So they all go out the next day. There's these holes. There's 3 of them. Of course, it's been a week or so, and weather and stuff. So 3 holes going straight down. There's actually some discussion in the live play because I had misremembered the acceleration of gravity as 32 meters per second squared instead of 32 feet per second squared. So there's a little confusion between me and one of the players who actually remembered 32 feet. 9.8 meters, if you want to be that precise. But anyway, so there's some... What was it? Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I misremembered. Sorry, guys. So yeah, they put light spell on a stone, drop it down there. About a second later, it's hitting soft dirt. So there's soft dirt at the bottom. there's piles of dirt around up here. Have Charge. No, just shoot, almost had his name. The weapons thing described, he envisioned like a giant badger digging up out of the ground kind of thing. Fairly roundish, about a meter wide, that kind of thing. But it wouldn't be burrowing straight up out of the ground, right? It comes at an angle, it just burrows in partially. That kind of, well, it burrows in, it doesn't burrow out. Unless maybe it's doing a back door. I don't know. Did they do that? Anyway, so they hook a rope up to the chariot, and they lower Arestra down. She goes down, picks up the stone, and indeed, all 3 holes do connect in this area. And then there's a tunnel heading off almost due east from here, almost straight as an arrow. So she goes down for a ways, just kind of checking it out, see what's going on. But she's got, it's again meter wide, right? So she's humped down and scooching along. And they come back, and they're all kind of looking around, send the owl up to look around, and the owl, flies out for 5 minutes, flies back. Yeah, this goes right over the Chaos Grounds, and from there heads over to the trade path between Runegate and Greenstone, and on into the Gijay Hills. That's what I saw. So I think it's actually where we ended the discussion at that point, because we didn't actually go anywhere. We ended there at the roadway kind of thing. So short video, short session, a lot of narrative going on, which I don't mind, but I gotta prep up a whole bunch of new stuff to figure out and I gotta find a way to get these guys back on the storyline. Happy gaming.